Good evening. This is the Elliott wave update for the NASDAQ 100 for Monday, May 16th, 2022. Not very much to be getting into today. The market churned in a tight range, and that's all it actually did. So let's do a quick review. I'll jump first up to the daily, which will take just a moment. You can see there's basically no changes. On the daily chart, none whatsoever. We remain within the minute wave 2 correction. So no changes there. Let's go down to that hourly chart. That's where we opened in yesterday, Globex. Globex opening took us up to the highs for the session. And then we proceeded to go to the session lows this morning. 11 o'clock New York, 8 o'clock here in the West Coast. And then that was the range. The range on the opening, US opening, or actually just before, I take that back, it was about just before the opening. The market got to 12,401, almost 402, and that was it. And then we just traveled down, we traveled back up, and we traveled down, and now we're sitting in the middle, waiting for more, which is not going to come. So the market's going to have to make a decision in terms of what direction are we really going, and that needs to resume. If we don't have enough reasons for why we should be buying the market, why was it going to stay here? Why would I want to be long? I'm going to be constantly looking for the short. Price action, again, is not telling us that yet. Price action is basically lining up to continue possibly to move higher. So as we have discussed, here's the potential. We have, again, let me just, sorry, I moved that chart out too quickly. I'm going to go back to that hourly chart again. So what we're looking at here is that the market is in an ABC up, and that'll be a minute wave 2. Now, if indeed this completed minute wave 1, not this level, but the secondary low, which I believe it did, that puts this as the A wave. That puts this as the B wave, may or may not be over. So I can kind of like it should be done right about there, but hey, who knows? And it races up back to that high this afternoon and then drops back down towards the low. So it's in a range. It's not doing much. It is still corrective. And on top of that, not only is it within a smaller, but 2-day, 3-day move in a minute wave 2 corrective raise, counter trend move. Now we're in the counter trend of the counter trend, and it's just a B wave. And now it is a typical B wave. It's just stuck, it's not moving, or all of a sudden it'll just go, and then it'll just go. So that's a B wave. The resolution of the B wave, which I believe will come down here, closer probably below that low, as to exactly how much, hard call. But if you're looking for something to kind of hang your hat on, some possibilities, you just run the retracements. Your retracements are right there. It's already come down 382, and I'm looking for a B wave within the ongoing, and it's come straight down. What does it have further? Next one down, 12,129 to 12,094. I don't see it coming that deep. It's a fourth wave or a B wave. It can, but the strength is going to lie because the world now believes we need to go up. We're over this, we're over that, yeah, et cetera, et cetera. This is what everybody's been calling for. I guess we better do it. But it's going to get to the point you're buying it, and then somebody's going to look around and go like, why? Why? If everything's really pointing in the other direction, why am I buying it, hoping that it goes up? So trading it has to, in my mind, is day trade, and actually even long, shorter. You know, for me as a day trader, an hour can be a very long-term trade. And I mean that in jest, but that's kind of how it feels. It's like when you're working off of a 30-second, 2-minute, and a 5-minute chart. these moves, it was a painful day because nothing happens. And you sit and you wait, and suddenly it'll just burst, and suddenly it'll just burst. And you're like, okay. And it still was an okay day. I don't particularly care to trade this type of correction, the correction within the correction. But tomorrow we'll see if it should hold, has a little bit more downside possible. I'm not looking for anything too strong, but hey, stranger things. But I am looking for it to resolve, and again, to get above this high at 12,500. The hourly 200 continues to be, quote unquote, the stick in the mud here, because thus far the market's being held below it. Got up and gave it a test yesterday on its opening, the Globix opening, and it's just failed miserably. So I'm looking for it to resolve to the upside quickly and get smashed. So that's the outside trick there, is that when this thing moves up, if it gets up to 12,622 or 12,842, the next step is a nosedive. And I think that that's kind of getting well known out there too. And people begin to question, why are we buying? What are we looking for here? So it kind of might have been a trade that kind of put out there, but it didn't have a resolution point. There was no call to say, well, gee, I think it should go here. And there was no discussion about, well, what do you do if it doesn't? So here we are, and we're waiting. And again, trading is each one of us, we decide if it's going to be worthwhile. There were worthwhile trades, but you had to be there, have been in, and rode it. And they're difficult to jump in the middle because there's just not enough. The movement was extremely limited. And so sometimes you're watching a trade go $1,000, $2,000 against you, but eventually work in your favor. And it's like, yeah, too much work for actually not a lot of reward. So tomorrow I'm hoping for the resolution will begin again to the upside. I will be looking for 5 waves up. If it does start to break down, the market, if need be, and this ends up being the high, and this is just the start of a decline, it's going to look different. So my basic line is that I do expect it to attempt to at least get to 12,500, possibly to 12,622. And that could be quick, it could be swift, and then be done. And the sellers just go, thank you, boom. Because seriously, the next move out for me is a resumption of that larger third wave down. And so here we have minor 1 and 2, minute 1, 2 being completed, and the next one is off the cliff. What's going to let us know? Let's go back to that hourly chart. What's going to let us know is it starts breaking 12,190, 129, 12 breaks below 12,000. That's a pretty good stiff. Yep, probably looks it. But if this is truly just the B wave can come all the way down to 100%. So it could drop all the way down and we go all the way back up. So unfortunately, if it continues to trade like this and work its way lower, it's going to be the same. And again, we have to keep open the potential that it's going to go up, retest wherever that 200 is, maybe break above it, and then sink like a stone. For it to confirm that it's sinking like a stone now, unfortunately, has to break 11,689. Pretty much without looking back. And then we'll know it's the third because it was able to wipe out the fourth in a heartbeat. Or the second wave, excuse me, in a heartbeat. And then boom, down it goes. So I'm going to leave it right there. There's not much more to be adding. And we'll continue to follow the moving averages and to keeping an eye on the hourly 200. Our next update will be Tuesday, May 17th.